Hello, welcome back to Vanessa's podcast, and I hope you enjoy this song from Gabby Barrett. She is the number one in the highest chart global nomination right now. Great song. You know, you gotta admit, she should have been the winner. She is the best. She worked so hard. She has a great work ethic, and she really bust her butt really, really hard, even before, during, after American Idol. So this is why she's on top right now. And today I have a great guest. His name is Rodney Daut. He has a great business and he has tons of things to offer. So we're gonna give him a call.
Hello.
So he's right here with us. Hey Rodney, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. So you're here today because you have some great offers and great service. And you want to tell us about what you do and what you have to offer to our listeners?
Awesome. Well, I'm the author of the Compelling Offers Blueprint, and basically what I do is I help people create compelling offers that can keep their practices full.
So how do you do that exactly? Give me an example.
That's a good. All right, so that's a good question. So, what really good example is a husband and wife team that I worked with almost 20 years ago. They had a really fantastic methodology for helping people change their emotions and behavior. They had wonderful testimonials, people who had all sorts of fantastic changes, yet they had a hard time filling up their practice. And I actually really loved the work that they did, and I thought it was a shame that they couldn't get more business. So what we did is we figured out, well, what are some results you can provide? I mean, changing behavior and emotions, that's okay, but it's very broad. So what's some specific results? So we came up with a list, and one of the things they loved the most from the list was fear of public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped them design a service to overcome fear of public speaking. So that's a specific result. And they contacted people in their network and who had to find out who had fear of public speaking they could work with. They found people really quickly, worked with 10 people really fast, got a bunch of testimonials from those people, and then they put it on a website and started advertising, and they were able to fill up their practice.
So it's a very individualized project, basically. You really have to go on one-on-one, to get to know each person and each fear and what is holding them back from finding the right clients or from even finding clients. So in that case, it was somebody who was just scared of public speaking, but there's people who have different problems in different areas. So they don't have the fear of public speaking, but they still can find clients. So what advice do you have for those people?
Well, yeah, so what I was basically doing is the first principle is to define a specific result. So they had the ability to help people change their emotions and their behavior, and they were selling that. It's a really broad service, so I helped them come up with specific applications they could sell instead. And so that's the first principle, is figure out a specific result. So you could have somebody, I worked with I didn't work with her, she was a client, but spoke with someone who told me she was an image consultant for women. And she was trying to sell that service. And I said, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And she started telling me about self-esteem and self-worth and this and that and all these things. And I said, so that's good. And when they hire you, what's the result they get? That that they're really happy with. And she said, oh, well, they start getting plum assignments, the really good assignments at work, which helps them get promoted. And I said, that's the result. Sell that.
Yeah.
And so we figure out what's the results you can promise that you honestly know, yes, I can either promise the complete result or progress on that result. And so that's the first principle is if you want to have a compelling offer, have a clear result. And you notice that you look at coaches and consultants, the results are very unclear. And
Yeah,
so
that's true. You can tell when there's a copycat and people are just trying to imitate another business or trying to get business from somebody else or from what they've seen or what they heard, but they're not authentic. So what makes you different than other businesses? I know you're saying like clear results. That's one of those things, but what other things are making you different?
So it's not just what makes me different, but what makes a compelling offer work. So the result is part of it. The second part of it is that you want to be able to have a system. So a lot of people, even if they do have a result and you say, well, how do you do that? And they get tongue-tied or they start describing something that doesn't sound very compelling. So we break up whatever you do into a system, even if your work is very intuitive, even if you know that you can help them, and no matter what kind of situation they're in, you actually want to break it into a system, 5 to 7 pieces that you can say, I'm going to take you through step 1, step 2, step 3, and you want to be able to describe those steps in a compelling way, in a way that makes somebody have confidence that you can deliver that result. And so that's the second piece, and very few people will break their work down into a system.
Yeah, you're right. They don't have the patience to do that, so it's good when you have somebody do that for you.
Exactly. And then the last piece, the third piece of a compelling offer is that it addresses a clear problem, a problem that the person needs to have solved. So sometimes the result already is the problem, like fear of public speaking. But even with that program, we looked at, well, who's the audience? Oh, they're business people, mostly, and some of them are entrepreneurs. All right. What is the problem they're having? The business people, the problem is that they were not getting promoted. They're getting passed up for promotion because they don't speak or they don't speak well because they're so terrified. The entrepreneurs, what was their problem? Their problem is I'm not getting out there to promote my business. My business is suffering. So each audience had a different problem. And if you address that problem, not just the result of the problem and the system, now you're cooking. And now people really nod their heads when you describe your offer.
Yeah, I see. That does sound compelling. So how would you approach someone that maybe doesn't know they need your help?
So I never work with people who don't know they need my help.
That
So
happens.
I'll tell you, what I do is I give presentations, I create content, and that gets people intrigued. And I'll have like an article on how do you create a compelling offer.
Mm-hmm.
Someone goes, ooh, that's really interesting, and I say, well, here's how to contact me. Get on my email list. Let's get on a phone call from that. So I don't convince people to meet me. They convince themselves when they. Basically, the best way to sell is to educate people. So if you teach people something of value, well, now who are you in their mind? You're an expert. You're someone who's trusted. And maybe the first time you teach them something, they're really excited and want to learn from you. Maybe it takes 5 things that you teach them before they say, oh, I need to work with this person. So, in fact, I met someone in January. She asked people to do a presentation for her group. And it was funny. I didn't feel like I got it. I mean, the group seemed to be happy with the presentation. She was floored by it. A few months later, she said, I have to work with you.
Wow, that was quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just I don't convince. I'm sure you do discovery calls.
Yeah.
With people, and you find out their goals and obstacles and that, and then you make your offer eventually at the end. And but ultimately, they know. I believe every single person knows something that they need. They may not know the system they need, but they know what their needs are. They know, oh, I'm not getting enough clients.
Yeah, they know something is not completely working.
Exactly.
Something is missing.
And so you always need to address that. If you're addressing a problem, anyone who has that problem is going to start paying attention. People who don't have that problem may decide not to pay attention.
Yeah, and I think that people who do achieve, their goals, go after fixing their problem. So first you have to acknowledge that you do have a problem. Second, you have to go after, and then you have to take chances, and you have to stop hesitating. I think there's a lot of people hesitating when it's like, should I get that or should I not get it? And so there's a lot of those, and then you have to convince. I mean, I know you're saying you don't have to convince them, but you have to prove to them that, the new system works.
Right, and the thing is in any sales process, you should always expect objections.
Mm-hmm.
And objections are a gift, because if the person objects, that means they're interested, but you have to solve that but.
Yeah.
They say, I'm interested in this, but I'm not sure it's going to work for me. Okay, so let's explore that. Maybe there's something we can do about that can give you confidence that this can work for you specifically. Or they say, gosh, I've seen so many offers, and none of them worked. They all promised something didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so that's good to know. Okay, so what was it about those offers that didn't work? Okay, now I can show you how I don't have that same flaw in my program. So to me, if someone objects, that's wonderful. Now, if someone says no without objecting, that's not good, because that means I must not have done something, or the person really knows this doesn't fit them. Mm. And I didn't figure that out ahead of time. Oh, I have a full practice. Well, then I offered you the wrong thing then, because
yeah, obviously. Huh?
I wouldn't offer you how to get more people in your practice if you already have that. So mm-hmm. if you have a mismatch between your offer and what that person's needs are, then for sure you won't get it. But of course, if someone has a full practice, I want to find out, well, what are the things you want to change in your business? They said, I work too many hours. Okay, well, I do have a solution to that. So, which I call a leveraged offer, which is basically that you take some of the work that you do one-on-one with people and you put it into materials so that they can learn some of that stuff without you present. It could be videos, it could be audios, it could be text. And so they're still getting the same result overall, but you charge the same amount. But now you're not spending as much time. And there's a bunch of little solutions like that.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you think it should be charging the same price if they weren't going to see you like a personal consultation?
So you still have that part of it, but you'll just have less of it.
Oh, okay.
So every time you build a new piece of your system, that's extra hours that you don't have to spend with the client. But they pay the same amount as long as you get delivering the same result.
Okay. I get it.
Teach my clients to do, you're charging people for a result. You're not charging people for your hours. We want to get out of that mindset of hourly employee, right? Mm-hmm. You're charging for the project. Let's get this project. Let's get this thing learned. Let's get this change happening. And then you end up creating a situation where you can keep raising your fees, because the more evidence that you have to support that you get that result, the more juicy it is for people. The more they believe it, the more they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and when you engage into something, usually wants result, that's why you're there. So that will make sense. Yeah. And so how do they find your articles? Like, how do they come across your article? Where do we find them?
So I have articles on medium.com. I've got articles on my website, selfinfluence.net. People always have to remember the .net, so selfinfluence.net. I got a ton of articles there. And every week I post articles to my email list. So if someone decides to get my free report, or one of my free reports, they'll end up on my email list and they'll get a new article every week.
All right, so you can add me to that list. I'm going to send you my email. And I will be able to share it also on the group, so like whenever I get it. So people will find out a little bit more about your business. And what's the name of the business exactly?
It's Self-Influence.
Self-Influence, okay. Sounds great. Sounds wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show and explaining that. I'm sure there's tons of people will be interested. And it was great to have you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.